In a world where time seems to slip through our fingers, the pursuit of longevity has become a shared yearning for many. However, the true art of living lies not merely in adding years to our existence, but in filling those years with meaning, vitality, and well-being. In this context, the story of a centenarian monk emerges as a source of inspiration and wisdom. This monk, who has surpassed the century mark, has dedicated his life to reflection and service, cultivating a profound connection with life and its mysteries. Throughout his more than 100 years, he has discovered secrets that transcend fads and trends, revealing fundamental principles that can transform our perspective on life and death. Today, we will explore the 5 secrets of longevity that this monk has treasured and shared with those seeking not just to live longer, but to live better. From daily habits to profound spiritual teachings, these secrets invite us to re-examine our priorities and embrace a holistic approach that nourishes the body, mind, and soul. Prepare to embark on a transformative journey that could change your life and open the doors to a fulfilling and lasting existence. The first habit I would mention, and perhaps the most important, is a diet based on natural and unprocessed foods. Since I was 20 years old, I adopted a vegetarian diet, avoiding meats and replacing them with legumes, nuts, seeds, fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. I also eliminated all refined products like white sugar, white flour, and processed oils, which are often harmful to the body. Instead, I focused on consuming a large amount of vegetables throughout the day, both raw in salads and lightly sautéed or steamed, to better preserve their nutrients. Green leafy vegetables like spinach, lettuce, broccoli, or Swiss chard, as well as beta-carotene-rich orange vegetables like carrots and pumpkins, were always on my plate. I also took care to mix different groups of vegetables to obtain various nutrients and enzymes that promote the absorption of these compounds in the body. The grains I consumed were only whole grains, avoiding refined ones that lack fiber and most of their nutrients: brown rice, whole grain bread, quinoa, oats. These were the foundation of my diet, along with legumes, another indispensable source of plant protein. Chickpeas, lentils, beans, and soy, cooked in various ways, were a great source of protein. Fruit was also a constant in my diet. Besides eating several pieces of fresh fruit daily, I used the abundant seasonal fruits from our orchards to make juices, smoothies, compotes, jams, and even delicious and nutritious ice creams using only fruit and a bit of soy yogurt or cashew milk. Nuts and seeds rich in healthy fatty acids and vitamins like vitamin E were another staple: walnuts, cashews, almonds, pumpkin, or sunflower seeds. I always had a selection on hand for a snack between meals. Dairy products, given my principles and philosophy of life, were entirely avoided. But this was not a problem, since there are just as many valid and nutritious plant-based alternatives, if not more. Oat, rice, almond, soy, and cashew beverages, along with yogurts and cheeses made from these ingredients, provided me with calcium and protein without the need to consume animal products. The key to this diet, which has served me so well, is to eliminate all ultra-processed foods: junk food, industrial baked goods, sodas, pre-cooked meals, etc. If you don't recognize an ingredient or can't pronounce it, it's probably not something you should be eating. Instead, I returned to the simplicity of whole ingredients sourced directly from nature, mostly from our own organic gardens or from local suppliers committed to sustainable farming and livestock. We don't need big companies to feed us. The earth gives us everything we need. Eating well does require a little more time and effort, since it involves cooking at home and being consistent with purchasing fresh products. But believe me when I say it's worth it. I have followed this philosophy of mindful eating for decades, and the results are a body of iron health despite my advanced age. I could even say that I feel stronger and more energetic than in my younger years. Of course, good nutrition must be complemented by other essential healthy habits in the pursuit of a long and fulfilling life. I'll discuss them in the next sections, but the truth is that without proper nutrition, we would be building on shaky ground no matter how much we take care of other aspects. Remember the saying, "We are what we eat." If we expect this physical machine to function properly for over a century, it's crucial to give it the right fuel. I chose vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and legumes, and this has been the master key to my conscious longevity. I invite you to try it for yourselves if you want to see the results. Eat well and live many years to do good. I will continue sharing the secrets that have allowed me to enjoy a long life filled with joy and good health. In the first point, I already covered the crucial importance of a good diet based on whole vegetables, fruits, grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds. The second fundamental pillar for me has been, wait, before revealing this second secret, I invite you to subscribe to my channel and leave us a like as a token of appreciation, since it took a lot of effort to analyze so many habits and ultimately narrow them down to just the top 5. I could tell you that I spent the whole night reviewing all the habits of my life before selecting these top 5. Now, the second secret and fundamental pillar, the daily practice of meditation and contemplation. From a very young age, I felt drawn to spiritual life and the search for transcendental answers. I was always a reflective child who enjoyed spending time alone in nature. When I turned 19, I made the decision to join a Buddhist monastery in the mountains to delve deeper into the teachings of Buddha and to lead a more conscious existence away from the distractions of the world. One of the practices that resonated most with me was meditation. At first, it was quite challenging to calm my hyperactive and capricious mind, always wandering from one thought to another without rest or purpose. But little by little, with much discipline, patience, and perseverance, I began to experience deeper states of mental stillness that filled me with peace, clarity, and inner vision. From my early years in the monastery to this day, meditation has become the most ingrained and unbreakable habit of my daily routine. Whether it's winter or summer, rain or shine, no matter how I feel upon waking, the first thing I do after breakfast is sit in the lotus position on my favorite cushion and dedicate at least an hour to the practice of samadhi, the serene meditation. At first, my mind resisted greatly, and it was difficult to remain still while observing my breath, without being swept away by the incessant whirlwind of thoughts. But now I can say that meditation has become second nature to me. Spending an hour quietly and attentively on the simple act of breathing has become the most joyful and restorative activity I know. I usually meditate in a small cave near my cabin, which has the most serene and crystalline energy I have ever felt. There, in total silence and in communion with Mother Earth, I can expand my consciousness beyond the limited physical senses and glimpse the tiniest crumbs of the infinite wisdom of the cosmos. The visions and revelations granted to me in that sacred space are unparalleled compared to any other mundane experience. Thus, over more than 8 decades of constant meditation and contemplation practice, I have been able to heal old emotional wounds, extraordinarily enhance my mental faculties of clarity, intuition, creativity, and memory, generate unshakable equanimity in the face of life's inevitable ups and downs, and above all, reach unfathomable oceans of peace, bliss, and spiritual fulfillment. My psyche and spirit have been so nourished, integrated, and vitalized through so many years of meditative dedication that this has undoubtedly reflected in a still strong and agile physical body, despite my advanced age. We must not forget that everything is interconnected. If we can quiet the mind and find peace in the spiritual realm, the physiological dimension will also benefit from better health and longevity. So if you are interested in cultivating inner wisdom and expanding the boundaries of your consciousness, as well as promoting a prolonged existence and health, make meditation an unbreakable daily habit. You don't need to be a monk or have a lot of free time. Just sitting quietly for 20 to 30 minutes each day, observing your breath and repeating this practice daily, will allow you to start noticing its extraordinary benefits over the weeks and months. Meditation connects us with our immortal essence and reminds us that we are not this perishable body, but eternal consciousness experiencing a temporary journey in the physical realm. When the inner layers are peeled away, layer by layer, the dust of the egoic mind is cleared, and the truth reveals itself in all its absolute and dazzling glory. Everything we needed, we already carried within us. I mentioned earlier that thanks to so many years of constant dedication to meditation, I have reaped countless and ineffable fruits on a spiritual, mental, and physical level. Let us not forget that everything is interconnected. Now, I would like to delve deeper into some of the numerous benefits I have observed in myself from this daily discipline, as I believe this will encourage many of you to incorporate meditation as a lasting habit. First, on a spiritual level, meditation has allowed me to transcend exclusive identification with the ego, with the thinking mind, and the limited idea I had of myself, connecting me to dimensions of consciousness that are infinitely broader and more ethereal. Although at the beginning of my meditative practice, my focus was on quieting the mental chatter, when I was able to transcend it and stop identifying with it, I was able to glimpse that I am not those thoughts or emotions, but pure consciousness in which that mental content manifests. Thus, in fleeting yet sublime moments, I was able to transcend the boundaries of individuality and merge with the cosmic consciousness that permeates everything. The veil of duality is lifted, and I can savor moments of non-duality in which subject and object, I and the rest, observer and observation, reveal themselves as one indivisible essence, consciousness, the element of which everything is made. This oceanic experience of transcendental unity often comes accompanied by intense states of bliss, peace, and inner wisdom that are very difficult to explain in words. They are glimpses of the unfathomable mystery that we are, fleeting flashes of our true nature beyond time and forms. Another great fruit of decades of meditation has been an extraordinary enhancement of my intuition and clairvoyance. Thanks to mental stillness and the consequent expansion of consciousness, my ability to know things without needing to think or deduce them through logic has been greatly sharpened. My intuition now takes precedence over discursive reasoning and is very rarely mistaken. Similarly, thanks to the constant practice of samadhi, I have awakened subtle clairvoyant faculties that were previously completely dormant. I usually meditate in a mountain cave of great energetic power, known as the Golden Eagle Retreat. When I delve deeply enough into elevated meditative states within the cave, I sometimes perceive future events, diagnose illnesses in others, communicate with beings of light and guardian angels, receive cosmic messages channeled through me, or even perform miraculous healings. I know that all of this may sound hard to believe to someone who has not experienced such phenomena, but I assure you on my honor that they are more real than any physical event. Everyone has the latent capacity to develop these siddhis or extraordinary faculties. It merely requires persistent dedication to mental training through meditation to expand the usual limits of sensory perception and activate the mystical potential of the pineal gland, also known as the third eye. Another aspect in which the meditative practice has radically transformed me is in my relationship with emotions and stress management. Thanks to so many years of impartially observing the incessant flow of thoughts and emotions without judging them or clinging to them, I have been able to attain an unshakable state of equanimity and emotional composure in the face of any adverse situation. Nothing that happens outside or within me can disturb or throw me off balance anymore. Thoughts and feelings continue to manifest, of course, but I observe them like passing clouds drifting across the clear sky of my spirit without identifying with them. I do not react mechanically. Instead, I consciously choose how to respond to each situation with understanding, wisdom, and above all, unconditional love. When you manage to transcend the conditioned mind, deeply understanding through your being that everything is interconnected and that there is no absolute duality of subject and object, nor good or evil, but different degrees of spiritual ignorance, you can no longer hold a grudge against anyone, or respond to evil with more evil. My greatest blessing and joy is to be able to look at all beings with the eyes of unconditional love, just as a mother looks at her child. Buddha said that pain or suffering always derives from ignorance of not seeing reality as it is. Thanks to so many years of introspective meditation, I have gradually awakened, and now I am fully aware of the impermanence of all things, the essential unity we share, and that we all, without exception, yearn for happiness and fear pain. Therefore, no one should judge or harm anyone. Thus, meditation has brought me glorious fruits, absolute equanimity in the face of the polarities of life, unshakable inner serenity, total absence of stress, and universal unconditional love toward all beings without distinction. All of this is thanks to deeply discerning the truth behind the illusory appearances that separate us. I could continue listing many other benefits I have reaped over all these years of faithful meditative practice, but to summarize, I would say that the main ones have been expansion of consciousness beyond the ego, glimpses of non-dual unity, extraordinary enhancement of intuition and clairvoyance, full mastery of emotions, absence of stress, and universal unconditional love. All these achievements on the spiritual and mental plane have inevitably also translated into significant improvements in physical health and longevity. My immune system has strengthened enormously to the point that decades can go by between minor colds. I do not suffer from pains or illnesses of any kind, and although I am physically over 100 years old, my vitality and energy are much greater than that of most people in their 20s or 30s. This is not a result of luck or genetics, but a natural reflection of a lifetime of deep dedication to expanding consciousness through powerful techniques such as meditation and the systematic cultivation of equanimity in the face of adversity. When you manage to quiet the egoic mind, your spirit rises and harmonizes, and the body consequently maintains that higher rhythm of energetic vibration. For all these reasons and the extraordinary benefits I have harvested during more than 8 decades of daily meditation, I can only urge you to adopt this sacred discipline and give it the importance it deserves in your life. You do not need to be a monk or have a lot of free time. Just 20 to 30 minutes a day will allow you to notice significant improvements over the weeks. Ideally, establish a fixed, secluded space where you can meditate without distractions from phones, televisions, or other people. Even better if it's in direct contact with nature. Sit up straight in silence, close your eyes, and concentrate in a detached manner on your breathing. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Without trying to modify it, just observing it as it is, accepting it with loving presence. When you notice the mind wandering into thoughts or emotions, do not get upset or tense. This is completely normal. With infinite patience and perseverance, you will gradually return to mental stillness, which will last longer and longer until you achieve complete calmness, and it is then that the magic happens. Thus, as a second key pillar in my joyful longevity, daily meditation has proven to be absolutely crucial and invaluable. Through it I have expanded my consciousness, awakening intuitions beyond the senses and opening my heart to unconditional love, all of which has reflected in excellent overall health at over 100 years old and in a serene inner joy that no longer depends on external factors. If you wish to live many years with fullness, joy, and growing wisdom, meditate, meditate, meditate. I have been doing it daily for over 80 years, and I do not intend to stop. Each session continues to gift me with precious treasures that broaden my understanding of eternal truth. Existence is too wondrous to waste on fleeting trivialities. Meditate, and you will see wonders. Now I will continue to share the third crucial pillar that has helped me enjoy such a prolonged and joyful existence. We have already seen the crucial importance of a diet based on whole plant foods and unprocessed products to adequately nourish this bodily vehicle. Now let's delve into the benefits I have reaped from cultivating daily meditation for more than 8 decades, which has expanded my consciousness, awakened clairvoyant intuitions, and above all, generated an unshakable serene joy in any circumstance. The third fundamental pillar I would like to share with you is the regular practice of moderate exercise, especially mindful walks in nature. From the early years of my stay in the Buddhist monastery back in the 1940s to today, not a single day has passed without me dedicating at least an hour to walking mindfully, that is attentively, around the monastery, whether in sunshine, wind, rain, or snow. I have never wanted to make excuses to skip the sacred habit of going out to stretch my legs and oxygenate my body, mind, and spirit. Thanks to this simple practice, even now, at over 100 years old, I continue to dedicate my daily hour to walking firmly and contemplatively through my beloved landscapes, aided by a wooden staff that I made myself. From a young age, I felt a special fascination for the majesty of the mountains surrounding the monastery, the purity of the air, the silence only broken by the singing of birds, the rugged snow-capped peaks inviting me to climb them, and the lush forest brimming with wildlife felt as if nature was calling me to connect with it on a deeper level. Gradually, I began to trace several circular routes of different lengths that I now know like the back of my hand. The other monks and I call them pilgrimage paths, and each has a special name: Hummingbird Path, Wise Owl Trail, Bear Route, evocative names that recall the magic often experienced along them. The shortest is the Hummingbird Path, about 5 kilometers long, ideal for especially cold or rainy days. It gracefully winds uphill, passing through a grove of bamboo where I can often admire hummingbirds flitting from flower to flower. It then crosses a meadow of wild poppies, whose intense crimson colour reaffirms the eternal promise of hope. The longest, and undoubtedly my favourite, is the Wise Owl Trail, about 12 kilometres long. It has many ups and downs, and I traverse steep slopes and shady hollows, wade through a couple of icy streams, and culminate in a steep ascent toward a cliff called Eagle's Watch, from where the panoramic view of the valley at sunset takes your breath away. On one occasion, I was able to see a huge Eurasian eagle owl perched majestically there, hence the evocative name. Regardless of the path, the key lies in walking it with full consciousness and presence, step by step, inhalation by inhalation, in deep communion with the elements. I do not wear headphones or any devices that distract me. My attention is focused on the here and now, the firmness of my footsteps, the gentle breeze caressing my face, the crunch of leaves beneath my sandals, the distant song of a cuckoo, every sense sharpened to perceive the symphony of life. This contemplative and meditative quality that permeates the walk makes it much more than mere physical exercise. It is a whole spiritual communion with the forces of nature, a synchronization of my vibrational frequency with that of Mother Earth. Through attentive presence while walking, my consciousness merges with the consciousness of forests, mountains, and rivers. Other bodily practices that I cultivate regularly are Tai Chi and Qigong, ancient Chinese systems of movement focused on enhancing and balancing the vital energy known as Qi. With gentle, slow, and harmonious gestures, ideal for older individuals, they activate the circulation of this energy through the body's meridians, conferring great physical flexibility and mental calm. I also dedicate at least half an hour daily to stretching all my muscles before and after my walk to maintain their elasticity, stretching my quadriceps, calves, triceps, trapezius, and lower back. At first I noticed everything felt very tight and tense, but over the years it has become as elastic and flexible as when I was young. I can even touch my toes with my palms without bending my knees much. Thus, through the daily practice of meditative walks in nature, complemented by Qigong, Tai Chi, and stretching, I have managed to preserve not only an agile, elastic, and strong body, but above all, a lucid and clear mind, and a spirit exulting with joy, at the miracle of being alive, smiling at the sun or the moon, feeling the caress of the wind, and listening to the murmur of the stream bestow an unparalleled sense of fulfillment. In this blessed age of Aquarius that is dawning, marked by a return to nature and a planetary awakening of consciousness, my greatest desire as a centenarian monk is to inspire others to adopt walking mindfully as an integral part of their routine. Long distances or prior physical preparation are not necessary. Only the firm determination to lace up some sneakers and start walking slowly, enjoying each step, each landscape, and each breath as if it were the first time at whatever pace one can manage, but persevering day after day. Even if you live in a big city, seek parks or gardens where you can connect with nature while you walk. And if you don't have time for long walks, just 5 or 10 minutes a day will yield noticeable improvements. The important thing is the regularity and the contemplative attitude, not how far or fast you go. Step by step, everything will come. Thus, after healthy eating and meditation, the third key pillar of my joyful longevity has undoubtedly been walking daily in full communion with Mother Nature. Thanks to this simple yet powerful practice, I have maintained an agile body and a serene mind for over 100 years. Are you encouraged to discover the wonders of conscious walking? To motivate you further in this endeavor, I researched various scientific studies that corroborate the extraordinary benefits for overall health of regularly walking in direct contact with natural elements such as trees, streams, mountains, etc. For example, a large study conducted with 120,000 adults and published in 2018 in the prestigious British Journal of Medicine discovered that just 20 to 30 minutes a day of light exercise in nature, walking, running, cycling, reduced the risk of premature mortality from any cause by an incredible 30%. Another major 10-year study with nearly 30 million participants found that 2.5 hours a week of moderate exercise in contact with natural green spaces reduced the risk of developing mental health problems like stress, anxiety, or depression by an astonishing 60%. As if that weren't enough, another study published in 2020 monitored nearly 50,000 habitual walkers over 25 years and found that those who walked at a calm, meditative pace, with full attention to their natural surroundings without haste or stress, reduced their mortality risk by 50% compared to those who walked at a fast, distracted pace, literally aging and dying sooner due to hurry. These and many other studies demonstrate conclusively what my life experience of over 100 years also certifies: that walking daily in a contemplative manner, in direct contact with parks, mountains, lakes, beaches, forests, or any natural environment we can access, has enormous benefits for our overall health and longevity. So what are we waiting for to lace up our sneakers and greet the morning sun? We may not be able to change certain external conditions, but we can give ourselves the gift of 20 or 30 minutes of well-being, inspiration, and inner stillness by walking consciously surrounded by the grace of nature. It will be worth it. I have been walking this way daily for 80 years, and I don't intend to stop until this body returns to dust. If you wish to join me on the Wise Owl Trail to share impressions and motivate each other, I am available at 7 every morning at the west entrance of the monastery. The 3 pillars we have already discussed are a diet based on whole, preferably plant-based foods, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, etc., a daily cultivation of meditative practices to calm the mind and expand our consciousness beyond the ego, and the lasting habit of contemplative walks in nature to keep body, mind, and spirit agile and serene. Well, the 4th crucial pillar I would like to highlight as the foundation of my more than 100 years lived in an optimal state of health and mental lucidity is the sense of purpose and selfless service to my fellow human beings. Living a meaningful life focused on sharing my innate gifts to help those in need has always been my existential compass and the greatest source of joy and fulfillment. Since my entry as a novice into the Buddhist monastery, I quickly connected with a fervent desire to take advantage of this special opportunity for intense learning in order to later transmit those spiritual teachings to the outside world. I felt that my true mission was outside and not among those mountains. Over the years, thanks to my inner preparation through the aforementioned practices of meditation, studying sacred texts, and cultivating virtues such as compassion, integrity, equanimity, and persevering dedication, I matured a growing desire to later share with other thirsty seekers all that accumulated wealth of wisdom. While I must acknowledge that the peaceful monastic life in such an idyllic mountainous setting invited me to stay and enjoy such a serene existence of contemplative bliss away from the worldly noise, I always held firm within me that youthful longing to one day return to civilization, to put my gifts at the service of those who needed them most, as a humble emissary of light among the shadows of the world. So after living for 3 decades as a monk among those blessed mountains, and feeling sufficiently mature and prepared internally to face the challenge of my venerable teachers, I embarked on my definitive return to civilization, with my heart filled with compassion and my bags filled with hopeful spiritual advice to share, how much they were needed upon arriving in the capital and witnessing the frenetic pace of life. In the midst of all the rush, stress, and long faces filled with resentment and severity, I realized that my calling to serve by helping cultivate inner peace amid such a furious mental storm would be even more necessary than in the past. How thirsty the modern soul is for liberating truth. Quickly, given my fame as the centenarian monk removed from the world, I began to receive all sorts of requests for talks, workshops, conferences, interviews on radio and television. However, true to the principles I learned, I only accepted specific commitments, charging only the minimum to cover my expenses. I have never intended to enrich myself at the cost of sharing teachings that were, in fact, transmitted to me free of charge by my masters. I also did not seek any personal fame, for authentic wise ones never boast about their luminous credentials. Truth does not require pompous spokespersons who promote themselves. It paves its own way through those who have transformed their ego to become humble and transparent channels for timeless teachings, never appropriating them as their own. Thus, with simplicity, transparency, discretion, and a pinch of that charismatic humor in me, my books, videos, advice, and reflections began to proliferate everywhere, always focused on sharing my learnings to inspire others to take greater responsibility for the creation of their lives through wise and constructive habits. I always emphasize that happiness depends 80% to 90% on our decisions and daily habits, while only 10% to 20% is determined by external factors beyond our control. Therefore, I reiterate time and again the crucial importance of taking care of our nutrition, meditating daily, even if only for 20 minutes, walking in nature to balance ourselves, cultivating positivity in the face of life's normal adversities, and above all, incorporating selfless service activities into our routine, such as volunteering for social and ecological causes to make the world a better place. Thus, thanks to always maintaining that firm purpose and motivation to share whatever wisdom and experience I could, to help others alleviate their suffering and find inner happiness, my gifts of poignant writing, inspiring oratory, and an extraordinary empathy that allows me to connect easily with all kinds of people have flourished extraordinarily. This has given profound existential meaning to my more than 100 years of life, synthesizing the 4th pillar that supports my enviable, lucid and joyful longevity. It is none other than living a life of generous service, guided by a sense of transcendent mission to share liberating spiritual truths and wise habits for others to benefit, reducing anxiety, and improving all spheres of existence. This has been my greatest joy and purpose in life, to contribute my small grain of sand, from humility, discretion, detachment, and humour, so that others may also illuminate their lives and relieve their inner struggles, beginning by transforming limiting beliefs and adopting constructive habits in the physical, mental, and spiritual realms. When I receive new news from very grateful readers who have radically improved their relationships, overcome depression, or resolved childhood traumas, largely thanks to applying my teachings on meditation, optimism, personal responsibility, and healthy habits, that is the greatest gift life can give, knowing that this elderly centenarian monk, through his firm will to serve as a humble source of inspiration, has genuinely contributed to alleviating the mental and spiritual suffering of many seekers yearning for light in this era of so much confusion. That is the greatest trophy, the greatest medal, the greatest award for a trajectory wholly dedicated to sowing, with unconditional love, the most sublime of seeds. That is why today, having long since surpassed 100 springs, I feel happier, more fulfilled, and at peace with myself than at any other moment in my extended existence, and it is not due to having gained fame, fortune, or worldly comforts. I have never been interested in those at all. Instead, I have always lived very simply. It is simply because of the profound inner satisfaction of knowing that I have run my course, trying to give the maximum possible, living to selflessly serve my human sisters and brothers, candidly and humbly sharing that legacy of wisdom, temperance, and compassion that my venerable masters once entrusted to me. Whoever sows love reaps love. Whoever lights a candle in the dark never walks alone. Thus, as an essential fourth pillar in the pursuit of a prolonged existence with true transcendent meaning, I encourage you to ask yourselves with complete honesty, what is your mission of service to the world from your unique talents and circumstances? How can you help others selflessly lead a more inspired and happy life? One does not need to be a learned monk or a millionaire to bring light where there are only shadows. Every human being can contribute with small, everyday actions performed with love in the here and now, a word of encouragement, a compassionate gesture, a moment of companionship, listening without judgment. Thanks to you, the world will be a better place. Let's get to work and start meticulously unpacking the fifth crucial pillar that, together with the four previous ones, forms the foundation of my exceptional longevity, enjoying physical fullness and mental clarity, with more than 100 years of life. The four core pillars we have covered are impeccable natural nutrition, based on whole, unprocessed plant foods, daily mental training through meditation to expand consciousness and awaken our intrinsic unlimited potentials, the cultivation of mindful walks and other healthy physical practices in full communion with nature, and fundamentally, living a life guided by a higher purpose of loving service to our fellow beings from our innate capacities and talents. Well, another fundamental pillar, perhaps not as obvious but equally important as the ones already mentioned, is the continuous cultivation of markedly positive thoughts, words, actions, and expectations in the face of the inevitable vicissitudes and ups and downs that this journey called life entails. I am referring to developing and maintaining an optimistic, hopeful, and favourable attitude regarding ourselves and the various circumstances we will face. As you well know, life is not a flat path exclusively lined with roses, applause, health, and success. All of us, without exception, must traverse stages of twilight in which we step on more thorns than flowers, and where some of our expectations will be temporarily frustrated. Pain, loss, failures, breakups, unwanted changes, illness, the death of loved ones, all of this is an inherent part of the vast kaleidoscope of existence. In the face of this irrefutable certainty, we essentially have two options: to resist vehemently the inevitable and try to manipulate each circumstance to our capricious whim, accumulating anger and resentment when reality does not bend to our stubborn will to control, or, on the contrary, to calmly accept that life has its cycles like the seasons, and that there is little we can force when the harsh winter blows or the thunder of a storm rumbles. Throughout my lengthy decades of life experience and learning, I have been able to confirm time and again that those who adopt the second conciliatory and humble attitude, accepting with equanimity the inevitable existential ups and downs, flowing flexibly like bamboo before the onslaught of a hurricane, tend to endure those dark phases with much more inner calm, fewer emotional turbulences, and even emerge strengthened and enriched from those stumbles. On the contrary, those who fight fiercely, trying to manipulate every slightly uncomfortable experience that presents itself, revealing fury at what shouldn't be, end up exhausted, embittered with life, and weary of themselves after realizing for the umpteenth time how little we can shape external circumstances with our stubborn individual will. The psychophysical wear and tear that this causes is immense. Thus, and old-fashioned as I am, I have always expressed it through a simple yet powerful mantra that I fervently repeated in times of great adversity and suffering. Everything will be all right in the end, and if it's not all right yet, it's not the end. When I sense this, I know in the depths of my soul that life never disappoints. With that potent seed of unbreakable optimism as an inner beacon against any adversity, and avoiding feeding toxic thoughts, vain expectations, and ill-intentioned words about myself or what should be, I have managed to transmute even the fiercest storms into valuable lessons that ultimately strengthen my resilience and faith in the infinite perfection of the cosmos, even when my mind couldn't comprehend it in those hells of total darkness. Therefore, maintaining unwavering positive thoughts, words, and expectations, even in the face of the greatest adversities, has been fundamental for my integral flourishing over the years. I will not deny that there were incredibly hard times, hours of fierce inner storms where one could not conceive it possible to see the light beyond that closed and impenetrable enveloping twilight. More precisely, those tremendous crises were the ones that taught me the most, where everything seemed to collapse irreparably, opening beneath my feet, a black abyss without a bottom. I discovered with amazement that when I hit rock bottom after descending into hell, it was because the moment had come to begin ascending step by trembling step. Yes, even in those horrible moments there were tiny instances, brief intervals where I glimpsed hopes of dawn after the endless dark night, and I clung to them desperately like a flash of light in the midst of the storm. Those fleeting glimmers of positive intention subtly indicated to me the way out of the supposed labyrinth without escape. So if you are also immersed in one of those long seasons where it only rains on the already wet, and it seems that problems and misfortunes are mercilessly targeting your battered soul, hold on. Do not let yourselves be overwhelmed. Know that you are much greater than any challenge you believe you are facing. Your spirit is invincible when it aligns vibrationally with the inexhaustible source of all that exists. Regardless of how daunting the external circumstances may seem at this moment, rest assured that they are merely fleeting illusions, shadows cast by our minds shaped by countless past lives. If we choose to respond with love to each shadow, rather than trying to eliminate it, we will come to realize that it is simply another aspect of the diamond that is our eternal spirit. Everything we seek is within us. So let's cultivate more optimism and deepen our trust in the infinite wisdom that governs all. Everything unfolds in perfect divine order. When it feels as though the universe is working against us, it is actually rearranging the elements for a quantum leap in our consciousness. Embrace the surprises that life brings. Often the greatest blessings disguise themselves as crises. Thus, hold on to unwavering positive thoughts, words, and expectations, even in the bleakest moments. Everything is temporary. Everything evolves. The only constant is the eternal spirit within us. Align with it rather than getting lost in the turbulent waters of a conditioned mind. Remember, there is always a dawn following the darkest nights. We have so much to be thankful for in life. Until next time, my dear friends.